Everybody, Rider of Rails Master here. Today, I'm going to be sharing something about my personal AU for Thomas and Friends. Lots of people have done this, like Daniel the Blue School Class, Eggs Benedict Studios. Honestly, the list could go on forever, but I'm going to be sharing my AUs on 98462 and 87546. Seeing as well, in the Railway series, Audrey drew them for a few of the illustrations, but never appeared again. When a young reader asked about them, he only stated that they were two naughty tender engines that had been, sent away due to their naughty behaviour. So, other people have speculated what they could have looked like, and today I'm going to be showing you all how I think that they would have looked and acted. First, how about we start with 87546? 87546 in my AU, otherwise known as Truro Castle, was built somewhere around the early 1900s and was numbered 5004 and was built on the Great Western as a castle class. She was very conceited of herself, and not many people really liked her on the Great Western, and was eventually bought by the North Western around 1940 and was painted in a sky blue per her own request. However, her attitude still hadn't changed. She was still like a very mean engine, and thus had a lot of problems with the engines of Sodor, mainly Thomas, seeing as well she was very rude to tank engines, and Thomas, being a small engine, was a very easy target for the castle. However, one day, this would get to her head very, very wrongly. One day, Thomas had been just relaxing at Knapford Harbour after shunting the express until 87546, after having enough after Thomas being annoying to her, had pushed him into the sea, which thankfully he had only landed on a few rocks, so didn't go under. However, this did not go unnoticed by the Fat Controller. The Fat Controller had decided to punish her by taking away her name and gave her a Fowler tender just because her old tender had been broken after Thomas had shunted some wagons into her afterwards. But stupidly, the workmen who had painted said Fowler tender had painted some random numbers on her tender just because they felt like it, and the Fat Controller kept them there just so the punishment would be more fitting, and that's how she became 87546. Until 1960, where she'd been sent away after being kept in a shed for a while, and was eventually scrapped in 1970. Okay, 87546 was pretty difficult to go through. I know I started a bit there, but now on to 98462. 98462 was built as a C11 Atlantic known as Alfie, otherwise known as Alfred. He was a very kind engine for his class and was very much respected by the other engines of the LNER. However, this wouldn't be for long until he had accidentally pushed a tank engine which he had a small grudge with off the rails against a faulty set of points, and the other engines had thought he did it purposely. So he lost his respect, and the manager took away his name, where he was known as his number 9868. A few years later, he'd been bought by the North Western Railway, and, like 87546, had been painted in a sky blue due to his own request. However, some idiotic children scribbled random numbers on his tender while he was still being painted. But he decided not to even bother getting rid of them. Plus, he thought they were quite imaginative. And then he was eventually sent away, but rebought by Sodor a few years, 20 years later, and now works on the Little Western, along with Duck, Oliver, Donald, Douglas, Daisy, and Ryan. who had turned out to be that tank engine he had derailed back on the LNER. Oh my god! I cannot tell you how difficult that was to actually set up. So yeah, that was my takes on 98462 and 87546. Now this video wasn't exactly long because, one, there were two engines, and two, I don't have much of a bright imagination. And some might get a little frustrated with me on how I might have messed something up earlier, but which being 87546's tender not fitting with her running board. But nonetheless, thank you all for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will be sure to give you an update on when I'm making another video, which might be about going to the cinemas to watch TADC episode 9. We'll see. But nonetheless, thank you all for watching again, and please remember to like and subscribe. We've just hit 40 subscribers, so I must say thank you all for that. I guess I'll see you all in the next video. Laters.